Well, hello everyone. Bonjour tout le monde. My name is Shannon Bradley Dexter, and as Barb mentioned, I'm going to be chairing our closing session here today. So I work with the Mental Health Promotion Innovation Fund. I'm primarily focused on KD&E, so supporting the work that Barb does and with her team. And I'm also really involved in the program design and planning of our strategic fund. So I'm joining you today from North Vancouver. And I'd like to thank the Coast Salish people, specifically the Squamish Nation and Tsleil-Waututh Nation, whose traditional territory that North Vancouver resides on. And my children go to school and learn from this land in this territory. And it really is an honor to be a part of this closing session with you. I wanted to thank everybody for their active participation in the discussions and in the exchange to really make the Innovation Fund come alive. And as you know, and we've talked, like these ideas and the learning and the themes that are coming from you over these past 3 days and from the funded projects and your partners, this really influences the work that I do and that we do in the Innovation Fund and across our team. So I wanted to just take a few moments and acknowledge the focus of the discussions on equity that we've had over the last 3 days and reiterated just now in this impactful and honest panel discussion that we just had. And equity is really, of course, inherent in mental health promotion. And in order to grow this field, we're really growing the opportunities for equity. And I thought Louis Soren articulated this so well. And from the perspective of the Innovation Fund, we have equity front and center in our work. And we're seizing opportunities to recognize culture as foundation and integrate this into the work that we do to really reflect a wide variety of wellness models and different ways of knowing and being into this federal funding program. So we're taking action on truth and reconciliation recommendations, and we're working with other funding programs to share the work that we do. There's still so much work to do. And however, it's events like this that I think are really inspiring us. And we've learned from the speakers at this event and from you, your projects, and your organizations. And this truly helps to shape our work. So we do strive for this culture of continuous improvement, innovation, and reflection. And we strive to have a funding program that's responsive and evolves to the realities of individuals and communities in Canada. So thanks to everyone for really bringing your fresh ideas and discussions and honest discussions to the Innovation Fund. And I think we've all been touched by the powerful speakers over the last few days. So I know we've really heard a lot of great ideas, and we were reflecting yesterday that it would also be great to see all of you in this closing session as well. And so Dawn, as you know, who's collecting some of the video montage and summary for the event, has really asked if we could all turn our cameras on just for even the start here of the closing session. And what we can do is we can take sort of a photo of all of us gathered here, together for this event. So I think you all know how to turn your cameras on, so I'll leave that to you. But then if you want to see all of these great faces kind of smiling back at you, you have to just shift your screen to the gallery view. So if I can give you a couple tips on that. You go to the top right of your screen and click on view, and then you select gallery. And so with that, you should be able to see like a number of people's screens, the inside of their home, their creative backgrounds. Like you'll be able to see all of that. So I think maybe, I don't know if someone from Annetta or Eric, maybe you can just slot those instructions too into the chat. If someone wants to make sure that they can read those instructions as well. So this is great, right? Look at all of us, look at all of these people that have gathered together. So, you know, this is wonderful because it makes me reflect on the opening comments that we had from Wendy Fletcher, right? She stated that there's power not only in the ones, but in the ones who gather in support of the ones. So here we all are, and it's really this collective participation and collective action that's going to move us forward. And I think that was echoed for me in one of the sessions where someone noted the we that is in wellness. So here we all are. Thank you. So yeah, we're together. We're focused on the growth of mental health promotion. And this closing session is to help us reflect on the forces that brought us together. And this will also help us work together as we move forward. So we have two speakers today. First, who've been, had the pleasure to become familiar with over the past 3 days through her enthusiastic facilitation. Dr. Barb Riley, who's the scientific director and founder from the KDNE Hub, will provide her closing comments. And then she will be followed by Karen McKinnon, who's the director of the Centre for Health Promotion at the Public Health Agency of Canada. And that's where the Innovation Fund is located. So first for Barb, I've really had the pleasure to work with Barb closely over the past few years on the implementation and co-creation of the KDNE Hub. And I really appreciate all of the passion and knowledge that she has brought to this role and shared with us through developing the KDNE Hub. So her background and academic training is in population health sciences and human geography. And she's brought her evaluation expertise, her leadership in population health intervention research and public health, along with her personal drive, which I think you've all witnessed, to really support the creation and application of meaningful knowledge. And this has developed and created a strong legacy with the KDNE Hub. So with this, Barb, I want to turn it over to you to share your reflections and observations.
And thank you so much. I must admit, I've done a lot of speeches over the years, and this one has been a tough one to put together. Like Brenda said yesterday, Brenda Restuhl, her mind was going in so many directions. So is mine, even after trying to guide myself with what others have heard from me probably way too many times. Less is more, find the sweet spots, fit for purpose, start with the end in mind. I am going to start with the end in mind, and that end that we have been aspiring towards is flourishing, mental health promotion flourishing in Canada. I'll combine that with the purpose of this session. As Shannon mentioned, it is to reflect on the forces that brought us together and will keep us together to help mental health promotion flourish in this country. Now, since storytelling has been central to this symposium, with Dawn, the projects, through the knowledge mobilization panel as well, I'm going to try my hand at telling bits and pieces of a story. It's a story Dawn would tell me, only I can tell. It's my story of the Hub. Be assured, the Hub is not the point of the story. I'm staying true to the purpose of the session. The point is to uncover some forces that can help us flourish, support our work together. My Hub story, panning for gold. The preface to my story. This is more like story fragments. Please forgive many, many omissions. We will find other moments for filling in those gaps. As we've heard in the symposium, that gap is fillable too. Chapter 1, the birth of the Hub. The Hub had a rough start to life. It was awarded by the Public Health Agency, and then a decision was made to close the Hub's intended host organization. Some of you may remember the Propel Center for Population Health Impact. It was a bit like that book, Who Moved My Cheese? What do we do? What do I do? Since I wouldn't be able to fill the role that was in the proposal. Well, I did what any rational person would do pre-pandemic, and I hopped on a plane. I hopped on a plane to Ottawa. I wanted to speak in person with the manager at the time for the Mental Health Promotion Innovation Fund, Christine Harmston. The fact that the Hub is here today is because of the convictions, the questions, the heart and the actions of Christine and her team behind her and her KDE right hand and the Hub's brainchild, I would add, Shannon Bradley Dexter. They listened and then carefully asked if I'd be willing to explore how we could make this work. The invitation brought another key player into the Hub mix, Dr. Wendy Fletcher, and others on her team at Renison University College. I approached Wendy to explore Renison as the Hub's home in collaboration with the University of Waterloo. She had the same mindset as Shannon and Christine. How do we make this work? I remember her words, or at least the sentiments. The world needs the hub. If you were here for the opening session or watched her video, I mean, I can't possibly speak the way Wendy does, her inspiring words, but the world needs the hub, anything to support infants, children, youth, and their support systems to grow up mentally healthy. We hear so often about the power of individual people, the power of one, the power of the ones, because it repeats itself over and over again. An extension to this is people who are well positioned, who understand their roles, role specific actions in the language of mental health literacy, and who care can truly make things happen. Part of what makes them precious is the mindset driving their actions, a mindset that leads with, how do we make this work? What can we do? Holding true to a vision and yet being flexible in how it gets achieved. They are the power of ones. They are gold. Chapter 2, critical developmental milestones. There were several of these and all attended to without happening in lockstep linear order. I'll touch on 3 milestones. Number 1, the hub's home team. Just like there is no health without mental health, there is no hub without humans. A first milestone was hiring the hub secretariat, the hub of the hub. Options for relevant expertise were both broad and deep. An early choice of the hub was that our expertise and experience would need to be first and foremost about our primary mandate, K, D, and E. The hub had only 4 positions to fill. You know as well as I do, it takes unicorns for these types of roles. The hub was fortunate to find a few, some of whom I worked with at Propel, and who had accrued years of experience working in hub-like structures and roles. These are rare creatures who have been part of the hub sometime, anytime since the beginning, and who I love dearly. I'll just name them all. There aren't too many. Lisa Stockton, Annetta Abramowitz, Eric Davernaut, Mary Alice Jolin, Renata Valitis, Carol Murray, and Marissa Lair. There is no stronger force than people who care about what they do, care about each other, care about making a positive difference. The power of ones, gold. Milestone number 2, a hub extended family. No matter how mighty this small home team was, it needed an extended family to envision and execute the work of the hub. The hub's extended family has taken shape over time. In our earliest days, we had a leadership team that is now called a hub resource collaborative. Once again, many different types of expertise and experience would add value to the hub. Essential very early on was ensuring strong mental health expertise to complement the K, D, and E expertise. Another power of one. Kathy Short, Executive Director of the School Mental Health Ontario, was instrumental in making many of those connections within the mental health community. Some pretty cool and amazing talent joined the hub's extended family, and I cannot name them all. Some of the attraction, I think, was the chance to be part of something new and something they believed was meaningful. Another attraction I heard often was being able to connect with new people. This was is a purpose-built team for the hub and quite eclectic. Very few people knew each other before the hub. Maybe these forces can be used by others when building teams. As we started working together, we grappled with a few things. One was the hub's model of leadership. We started with a co-lead model, an academic and practice partnership. I was truly blessed to work alongside Janice Pope, another power of one. She's gold and contributed enormously to the formation of the hub. Me from academia, Janice from practice. Unlike me though, Janice had another full-time and demanding job. Her hub role was formally approved as part of her job, but nothing else from her job got dropped or backfilled by others. Sound familiar to anyone? For Janice, as with others who are deeply caring and competent professionals with high expectations of themselves, this situation, of course, is untenable. The name co-lead was unhelpful since it inadvertently carried with it a felt sense of responsibility for a 50-50 split in leadership. This kind of scenario is quite common for collaborative, innovative projects that bring together people who hold other primary positions. We saw this same theme play out when naming what is now the HRC, or the Hub Resource Collaborative. At first, it was a leadership team. We considered lots of options that may sound familiar to you: steering committee, advisory committee, Hub Partners Forum, board, working group. We landed initially on leadership team, but it didn't fit. Like co-lead, it carried too much responsibility, too much implied responsibility, more of a governance body, which was neither feasible nor desired by the group. They came up with Hub Resource Collaborative to convey more accurately the purpose of the group, to advise and actively contribute to the work of the Hub in tailored ways. So both of these challenges, with the co-lead language and the leadership team language, can remind us of the importance of authenticity, finding language that is true to roles, that tells it like it is, that fosters expectations that individuals hold of themselves and that we hold of others, that are realistic and sustainable. Milestone number 3, the Hub's identity. Of course, we didn't start with a blank slate. We were funded, like others, based on a proposal that was in response to an invitation from the Public Health Agency. Those invitations, as many of us know, lay out what they want. Of course, they have to. In the case of the Hub, a 21st project within the MHPIF that would support strong evaluations, population health intervention research, and knowledge sharing. Our job as applicants was to share what we could offer, our translation of that request. Now, specifics aside for a moment, there's a bigger picture. Identity, I think, is an important part of the story. The whole idea of a KD&E hub within the Mental Health Promotion Innovation Fund was new. The MHPIF is the second generation of FACT's previous 10-year innovation strategy. The innovation strategy didn't have a KD&E hub. So the hub was also new to the Innovation Fund team at the Public Health Agency. It was new for funded projects, even pretty new for the mental health and public health fields overall. New can absolutely be exciting and fresh and full of potential. New also can raise some questions. It's different. How does this hub change how we're doing things in the past? How are we going to work together? What will they do that we did before? Worst of all, is this hub going to tell us what to do? These questions influenced another set of questions we asked, the hub asked, when refining our niche or identity. How could we complement rather than duplicate or compete with the work of the projects, the Public Health Agency and others? What value could the hub bring that would be beyond what individual projects can do on their own? One example is what the hub does to create new knowledge, part of the mandate that others tell me is different from other knowledge hubs and something they value. The hub emphasizes creating new knowledge across projects. The storytelling study that was discussed in sessions earlier today is our phase 1 example. As far as I can tell, the hub has found some sweet spots that add some value to the field and are non-threatening, palatable, and maybe even welcomed within a growing community across the country. Another nugget about shaping our identity is about the process, not the outcome. We just heard this in the last session, the journey, not the destination, a truism to be sure. But every experience, including the hubs, can enrich our understanding and commitment to the journey. As I mentioned, the proposal was our starting point. Directions were firm, specifics needed to be flexible to honor our commitment to an ethic of co-design. We engaged with others, our host institution, the Hub Resource Collaborative, the projects, the Public Health Agency, to refine the hub's identity. Now, engagement, I get it, is not new or innovative for anyone here. For all the right reasons, it's expected in how we work together. It's also tricky. There are so many different degrees and types of participation. Practical considerations like time and deadlines are real. And for the hub, they play out all the time, including in planning this very symposium. Others' preferences, norms of behaviors, capacities also matter. The hub has tried to do this with the Innovation Fund projects in particular. So getting to the point where they can freely say, stop asking me is a good, if comical sign or signal to the Hub team. Of course, collaborative work takes continual navigating for everyone involved. There are lots of participatory guidelines to follow. Even so, infusing some humility and humanity into these guidelines is how we find our true sweet spots and biggest pots of gold. There's always room for more development, but at some point you need to get out into the world. Recall from yesterday, vision with no implementation is delusion. Chapter 3, proof of concept. We were blessed with some fantastic planning on the Public Health Agency's part to give the Hub time to get established before the Innovation Fund projects started in earnest. This lead time helped enormously. The pandemic also helped, even though, of course, it was unplanned. The pandemic meant program announcements were delayed. The Innovation Fund program announcement. It gave us about 9 months to get to know the projects, refine and build our website with their input. We had a login for those first 9 months until the program was announced publicly, and then we could go fully public as well. The 9 months also allowed us time to experiment with different Hub supports. A potentially useful nugget, I think, for others is the value of a progressive unveiling. We could have done this without the pandemic, but my hunch is we probably wouldn't have. I'll speak to one more chapter. Chapter 4, maturation. The Hub is still young and also growing up. As much as we'd like to claim a natural, internally driven maturation, our growing up is mostly driven by external realities. Horrible mental health impacts from the pandemic. As a result, more attention on mental health, a positive, and higher demands for what we do. How the Hub will meet and greet these growing demands is yet to unfold. What I can say for sure is that the KD Hub will continue with the Mental Health Promotion Innovation Fund in its second phase, the 4 years starting April 1st. That upcoming part of the Hub story is yet to be told and will not be my story to tell. The Hub's been an awesome adventure, and there are other adventures calling. I put those calls on hold at the start of the Innovation Fund and during the pandemic, and I'm so glad I did, but it's now time to answer them. The Hub will welcome new leadership as of April 1st. Drs. Alice Schmidt-Hanbidge and Colleen McMillan will serve as the Hub's scientific co-directors. They are a great fit. Both faculty members at Renison University College with extensive experience in mental health, community engaged scholarship, capacity building, including e-learning. They'll be gold for the Hub and in this community. But you're not done with me just yet. We've got phase 1 to wrap up that includes post-symposium products. This brings me full circle to my struggle with what I would say today. This is not farewell, and yet it's the last time in my role as the Hub scientific director that we will all be together as in person as we get these days. So I want to conclude by speaking briefly to those 2 big feelings we talked about yesterday, gratitude and hope. I'm deeply grateful for the incredible privilege and honor to have led the KD Hub from its difficult birth to now. I've been awed and blessed with the power of ones. Some of those you've heard about in these brief remarks and seen their hearts and minds at work the past 3 days and 3 years. The Hub Home Team, the Hub Extended Family, Public Health Agency, the projects. I'm deeply grateful for how we play to each other's strengths and how we mind and fill each other's gaps as people and in our professional roles. My hope is real and it's big. We are no doubt entering a growth phase for mental health promotion. There is energy and momentum to change what's broken in our systems and structures so that so many people do not reach breaking points themselves. With voices and visuals from the Innovation Fund projects yesterday, we were reminded of a compelling why for the work we do. It's a compelling why because we share a compelling vision of flourishing. I believe the desire to support mental wellness and flourishing is so compelling because it's as much in the structures and systems of societies, sometimes considered out there, as it is in here, in our own hearts and minds, the lived experiences we have of feeling our own version of flourishing and our own version of languishing too. My final, I promise, Shannon, word is a short vignette from early this morning. A note from my mother. She sent me a note to see if she could join this session and hear what I had to say. Her words. Feeling so proud, but not totally aware of all it encompasses. Well, me neither, Mom. For all of us in our work and in our lives, we'll just keep building the bridge as we walk on it, learning as we go, panning for gold. So the end, for now, side by side with many new beginnings.
Barb, thank you. Thank you for these stories and your reflections of building the KD&E Hub. And I think maybe I can speak to say that we just really appreciate, of course, like hearing your heart and soul that you've brought to this work and really creating a legacy for all of us to continue to build on. And I'm really happy, you know, this is not the end, but as you say, like this is the last chance to connect with everyone here. And I hope I'm connecting with your mom. Like I really hope she's on this call. This is that's wonderful to have support from all corners. And of course, like we'll all continue to support and really look forward to hearing about some of your next steps. And of course, welcome the new leadership to the KD&E Hub as well. So yeah, thank you for kind of bringing home this journey for the KD&E Hub. So next, I have the pleasure to introduce Karen McKinnon. And Karen is the Director General of the Centre for Health Promotion at the Public Health Agency of Canada. And this is a center that holds and houses the Mental Health Promotion Innovation Fund. And Karen is very, very familiar with this program. But there are a wide array of policy development and community-based funding programs within the center. And these touch the lives of many Canadians. So programs and funding for the early years, children, youth, families, and healthy aging. So really right across the life course. So Karen, we're thrilled that you're able to join us today and bring your perspective to this closing session. So yeah, I invite you to share your observations and highlights from the last few days.
Thank you so much, Shannon. And Barb, wow, what a tough act to follow, but what an absolutely beautiful, beautiful set of remarks. Just such a hearty congratulations to you for all that you've achieved. But thank you, Shannon, for this introduction and for inviting me to provide a few closing remarks. I join you today from the traditional unceded territory of the Algonquin Nation here in Ottawa, and I value the opportunity to live, work, and play in this region and on these sacred lands. I also acknowledge the Indigenous leadership and multiple ways of knowing that have been at the forefront of this symposium. It has been so wonderful to connect with all of you virtually. We had over 300 people register, and that is truly amazing. The interactive discussions have helped to build connections and learning within this wonderful and vibrant community. And it has been inspiring to me to see the wide variety of organizations who have engaged in this event and to witness a strong sense of shared purpose. We've had community-based, national and Indigenous-led organizations, as well as universities and all levels of government in the same breakout sessions, and not to mention the minister and her parliamentary secretary. Ces 3 jours ont été incroyables. I have been reflecting on what it means to help the field of mental health promotion flourish and why it is so very important now. We have benefited from a rich and diverse set of perspectives over the last few days that will continue to influence our collective efforts. Nous vivons dans une période particulière de changement et de constante adaptation. La pandémie de COVID-19 nous a montré à quel point il est nécessaire de préserver et de favoriser notre bien-être mental. As practitioners delivering community-based interventions, you have been at the forefront of supporting children, youth, and families through the shifting context of the pandemic. And I know from the sessions earlier today and throughout that the support that you were called on to provide was truly significant indeed. And I want to acknowledge your flexibility, your responsiveness, and your adaptability, and to thank you from the bottom of our hearts for these extraordinary efforts. As noted by Dr. McKenzie in his keynote, we have an opportunity now to address inequities and persistent structural gaps through our recovery and response to the worst effects of the pandemic, and it is a tall order indeed. And as part of that response, you may already know that in Budget 2021, there was a commitment to support projects to promote mental health and to prevent mental illness in populations who have been disproportionately affected by the COVID-19 pandemic. Ces projets toucheront de nombreuses populations, notamment les jeunes, les personnes âgées, les Premières Nations, les Inuits et les Métis, les Noirs et les autres Canadiens racialisés, ainsi que les travailleurs de la santé de première ligne et autres travailleurs essentiels. Cet engagement donne un nouvel élan au domaine de la promotion de la santé mentale et offre des possibilités d'apprentissage partagées à l'avenir. Pour soutenir la promotion de la santé mentale, nous devons aborder les grands déterminants sociaux de la santé comme le logement, la sécurité alimentaire et l'établissement des écoles sûres et inclusives. As practitioners, knowledge keepers, evidence builders, researchers, and funders, we can and do make a collective impact. But what kind of impact and for whom are the important questions that we need to continue to ask ourselves, perhaps more now than ever. And I think, over this set of discussions today in particular, we were certainly challenged to do so. Our keynote speaker, Dr. Hopkins, highlighted the importance of honoring Indigenous place-based, self-determined ways of knowing and understanding the world, which is absolutely inseparable from mental wellness. The First Nations Mental Wellness Continuum model reminds us of the importance of culture as a foundation and as a protective factor for mental health. We also heard about the key findings that have emerged from the first phase of the Mental Health Promotion Innovation Fund projects. And I want to thank you for bringing forward your stories and insights on the important work that you are doing. The opening gallery sessions was a great opportunity to learn more about particular projects. For example, to learn more about how we are using the power of food to promote mental health, or how we are reaching out using online tools to provide evidence-based guidance and support for parents when they need it the most. Innovation Fund projects have responded to the immediate needs of communities, which included some of the fundamental determinants of health, such as housing and safety, and as I mentioned a moment ago, food security. I know that many projects took on new responsibilities, such as providing vaccine support and addressing social and emotional needs. And again, we thank you from the bottom of our hearts. In addition to making impacts at the systems level, you are creating significant supports that change the lives of individuals. And I want to echo the messages shared by Barb and in the mental health promotion video created by the KDE Hub in advance of this symposium. Vous avez tous un rôle important à jouer pour établir le domaine de la promotion de la santé mentale, par l'adoption de l'approche multisectorielle englobant tous les déterminants et les partenariats qui appuiera la promotion utile et durable de la santé mentale à long terme. It has been so inspiring to me to hear the stories and examples of how health equity is so deeply integrated into the work that is happening within the Innovation Fund projects. I was particularly interested in the key themes that emerged from the Hub-led study of project stories from Phase 1 and their applicability to our work in the Center for Health Promotion here at the Public Health Agency more broadly. We know that there are opportunities to support mental health promotion across the life course. Within the Center for Health Promotion, we are working on a wide range of initiatives, including suicide prevention, gender-based and family violence prevention, healthy aging, as well as maternal and child health community-based programming, among others. I know that colleagues from various teams within the center have attended this symposium and will be keen to integrate the key insights and learning into their work. It has also been great to see that many community-based partners who are involved in our other funding programs from within the agency were also able to be here, given that the key objective of this symposium has been to build even deeper connections amongst us as we pursue our shared goals of promoting the positive mental health of children and youth. On behalf of all of us here today, I would like to acknowledge the work of the KD&E Hub, the funded projects and the Innovation Fund team for their collective vision for this symposium, their efforts to bring together so many players, and for creating such an interactive, joyful, and informative approach to our collective learning. I would also like to acknowledge the strong and powerful and glorious leadership of Dr. Barb Riley, along with the support of Renison University College and the University of Waterloo in building such a solid foundation and family for the KD&E Hub. I appreciate the intentional effort of you, Barb, and your team to create the opportunities to share the insights from the funded projects more widely by opening this event to the broader mental health promotion community. Barb, I want to thank you for your outstanding leadership as the scientific director of the KD&E Hub. You and your team have already created a lasting legacy with the development of the online platform, as well as the knowledge exchange events that you have become famous for, such as this annual symposium. Your relationships-driven approach has created an atmosphere of partnership and fellowship with funded projects, and this is evident in some of the recently published studies that make this so very clear. We are going to miss your leadership, Barb, and the momentum that you have built around mental health promotion. And at the same time, we are so very excited for what lies ahead for you on your own path. I look forward to our future collaboration with the incoming scientific directors, Dr. Alice Schmidt-Hanbidge and Dr. Colleen McMillan, as we continue to build the momentum alongside the Innovation Fund projects that are moving on to phase 2. A huge and heartfelt thanks to all of the speakers who challenged us to think about mental health promotion from multiple perspectives, including from Minister Bennett, who recognizes profoundly the importance of addressing the social determinants of health as a key to our collective efforts. I hope that we can continue to build on the momentum of the last several days by fostering relationships and partnerships in support of mental health promotion. And I believe in reflecting back on these days that through the symposium, we together have planted some seeds that will continue to help mental health promotion flourish. And I know that together in the future, we will reap their bounty. The organizing team and I thank each and every one of you for all that you have so generously shared together with us over the last few days. Thanks, and over to you, Shannon.
Great. Thank you very much, Karen. And I really appreciate us being able to share this closing session and make those powerful connections between what we are learning at the symposium, what all of the projects are learning and developing, and how that is actually being directly taken up. That knowledge mobilization is happening directly to the Public Health Agency of Canada. And that's occurring within the Innovation Fund, but also beyond, just as Karen has made those remarks today. So thank you very much. So I know we're really very close to the end of our time together here, and I just want to leave you on a few of my observations about how our Innovation Fund, the Innovation Fund, will continue to work with you to build the field of mental health promotion, and I'm really excited about the future of our work. So thank you to all of the projects and to the KD&E Hub who developed the Insights paper. And there are really strong innovations identified there. And we acknowledge that the work to develop hybrid programming and to move online within the context of the pandemic, that wasn't easy. And these adaptations continue. But so much of that learning and those insights will be integrated into our program planning and into other funding programs at FACT. So thank you for that. And we're happy to follow up with on how that information was utilized, because it's so valuable at this time. So this is a unique funding program to have 10 years, the potential of 10 years of funding to understand the longer term impacts and to be able to evaluate and gather knowledge from your interventions and from your community-based programs. So for us, I think, you understand that this funding model speaks about scale. And we really are aiming to understand scale in 3 ways as we move forward. There's the scale out to expand reach and to serve more communities and people. Scale up into systems change, which we've heard so much about, and to be able to impact the broader determinants of health. And then there's scaling deep. And scaling deep is to impact those mental models for long-term change, change towards equity, decolonization, and inclusion as examples. And so all of these discussions today have really kind of resonated with our funding model. And we really look forward to just continuing this work and along this journey that isn't a destination, as Louis Soren had noted for us, but really this journey that takes time and meaningful partnerships to impact those broader social determinants of health. So finally, there has been many thank yous today, and I appreciate that. And they've come before me through Barb and Karen. And I just want to express again, on behalf of our team, the thanks to the Katie Hub Secretariat for all of their work to organize this event and to recruit such powerful speakers for the keynotes and amazing panelists. And we know there's so much work that goes on behind the scenes that needs to be set up before the event, and the use of the gallery walk and the Whova platforms really help to shape such a dynamic virtual symposium. And thank you for the extra steps to host our minister, Mr. Bennett, during the speaking. And this was really appreciate this extraordinary virtual event that has been put together. And I also want to express thanks to the simultaneous interpreters. They've done a really great job, and it's critical to have the option to speak and listen in one's own preferred language. So thank you for all of your work with that. And finally, there will be an evaluation, and it's very helpful for you to complete this. Your feedback is extremely valuable because it helps the Hub team and our team learn what worked well and what can be improved and how to shape future events. So this is, again, it's all part of our continuous improvement. And you can access the evaluation form by clicking on a link that's already there in the chat. And I understand that you will also be emailed the evaluation at the end. So finally, I just wanted to emphasize one more point, and it's that of social innovation, because I think, there's so much that we heard in the last few days, the work your projects are doing and the impact in mental health promotion. And it's your local social innovations that are really going to drive the change. And that is going to contribute to our scale out, scale up, and scale deep. So please, as we've all kind of heard, continue to really try and push and address and develop these social innovations for your communities. And we're really looking forward to hearing about the impacts that you're having with your individuals and, of course, those broader systems. So thank you very much. Merci beaucoup. And I think that is the end of our 3 days together. So thank you again, and we will stay in touch.